November 26th, 2022. 8:30 p.m. Katrina Pace stands in a parking lot outside Signal View condominiums in Chattanooga, Tennessee, staring at her daughter's white Chevy Equinox. The driver's seat is pushed all the way back, too far back. Her daughter is 5'2". Someone much taller sat here last. 4 days. That's how long it's been since Jasmine left her mother's house. 4 days of text messages that don't sound right. 4 days of social media posts that can't be real. 4 days of a voice in Katrina's head screaming that something is catastrophically wrong. She opens her phone and looks at the Facebook post one more time. "Enjoying Thanksgiving with my baby," it reads. The photo shows Jasmine in a revealing outfit. But Jasmine's tattoos, the timeline of ink that marked years of her life, are missing from her arm. This photo was taken months ago, before the tattoos. Someone is pretending to be Jasmine online. And Katrina knows with absolute certainty what that means. Her daughter is already dead. This is the story of how a killer tried to use technology to cover his tracks, and how a mother's refusal to stop searching would expose a murder so brutal, so calculated, that it would take a jury less than an hour to decide his fate. If you're fascinated by cases where justice finally prevails, make sure to subscribe for more solved cases just like this one. Where are you watching from tonight? Let me know in the comments below. Chattanooga, Tennessee, November 2022. A mid-sized city nestled against the Tennessee River, where the Appalachian Mountains begin their climb. This is a college town, home to the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, where 11,000 students fill apartments and bars and coffee shops. It's the kind of place where young people come to reinvent themselves, to fall in love, to build futures. The week before Thanksgiving, the city empties out. Students pack their cars and head home for the holiday. Dorm rooms go dark. Apartment complexes grow quiet. It's supposed to be the safest week of the year. Everyone's with family. Everyone's accounted for. But in a small apartment at 110 Tremont Street, something is happening that will shatter that illusion completely. A 22-year-old community college student is fighting for her life, and in the hours that follow, a computer science major will attempt the perfect digital cover-up. He'll use her phone to text her family. He'll post to her social media. He'll send photos and messages designed to make everyone believe she's alive and well, and choosing to be alone. He has no idea that Jasmine Pace's mother is about to become his worst nightmare. Jasmine Pace, 22 years old. Everyone who knew her called her Jazzy. A devoted aunt to 2 nieces and godmother to a little boy named Rohan. An animal lover who cherished her 4 cats. A community college student with dreams of becoming a mother herself someday. Her older sister Gabby said Jasmine talked constantly about what kind of mother she would be. The fun and sweet young woman had always been known for one thing above all else. She was fiercely protective of the people she loved. If you were Jasmine's friend, she would go to war for you without hesitation. Her childhood friend Bailey Putman said there was a moment when you were with Jasmine that you realized how clever, how smart, how brilliant she was. Jasmine never burned bridges. She never ended relationships badly. She always made it a point to let people know she was thinking of them, that she loved them. But November 2022 had been hard for Jasmine. Her grandmother had recently died of cancer, and Jasmine was working through her grief in her own way. Sometimes that meant choosing to be alone, taking space from family gatherings, processing her emotions quietly. Her parents, Katrina and Travis Pace, understood this about their daughter. They'd seen her retreat inward before. So when Jasmine sent a text on Thanksgiving morning saying she was spending the week with her friend Emma instead of coming to dinner, it didn't immediately raise alarm bells. What they didn't know yet was that Jasmine had been missing since the night of November 22nd. She'd driven her white Chevy Equinox away from her mother's house at 11:30 p.m. Security cameras captured her leaving. That was the last confirmed sighting of Jasmine Pace alive, and the person texting her family, posting to her Facebook, sending photos from her phone. That wasn't Jasmine. That was someone who needed everyone to believe she was still alive. Someone who needed time to clean up. Someone who had already stuffed her 98-pound body into a suitcase and was planning exactly where to dump it. November 24th, 2022. Thanksgiving Day. Katrina Pace stares at the Facebook post on her daughter's account and feels ice in her veins. Enjoying Thanksgiving with my baby. At first, what strikes Katrina is the outfit. Revealing. Not characteristic of Jasmine at all. Her daughter didn't post photos like this. But it's Jasmine's father, Travis, who sees what's really wrong with this picture. The tattoos. Jasmine's extensive tattoos on her upper right arm, each one obtained on a different date, months apart, forming a kind of timeline, are missing. Completely absent. This photo is old, taken before Jasmine got that ink. Someone is posting old photos and pretending it's current. Someone is pretending to be Jasmine. Katrina immediately calls Emma, the friend Jasmine supposedly texted about staying with for the week. Emma confirms what Katrina already suspected. Jasmine is not with her. She never was. Emma never received any message about Jasmine coming over. Katrina and Travis start calling everyone in Jasmine's life. Several other friends and family members had received messages too. Texts claiming Jasmine wanted to be alone for a while, that she was dealing with grief, that she'd reach out when she was ready. But no one had actually spoken to her. Not a single phone call. Just texts. The family begins to search immediately. Katrina remembers that Jasmine's Chevy Equinox has a GPS feature called My Chevy, an app that allows her to track the location of the vehicle. She opens it and sees that the SUV is parked outside Signal View condominiums on Mountain Creek Road. By the time they arrive, it's 8:30 p.m. on November 26th. 4 full days since Jasmine was last seen. The family doesn't know anyone at Signal View condos. Jasmine had never mentioned living there or visiting anyone there. When they access the vehicle, the driver's seat has been pushed all the way back, positioned for someone much taller than Jasmine's petite 5'2" frame. They call 911. Chattanooga police arrive and take a report. But as far as the officers are concerned, this is just a missing person case. Jasmine is an adult. There are no clear signs of foul play. A report is written, contact information exchanged, and then the police leave. Katrina and Travis are on their own. Katrina pulls out Jasmine's phone records. Because Jasmine was on the family cell plan, Katrina has access to every call, every text, every connection her daughter's phone made in the days leading up to her disappearance. One number stands out immediately. On the night of November 22nd, the last night Jasmine was seen, her phone connected with this number for over an hour, 71 minutes. Katrina calls the number. A young man answers. His name is Jason Chen. He's a computer science major at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. He and Jasmine had met on the dating app Bumble and had been casually dating for several months. The relationship wasn't serious enough for Jasmine to introduce him to her parents. Neither Katrina nor Travis had ever met Jason Chen. Katrina asks if he's heard from Jasmine. Not for days, Jason says. And when they last spoke, it was only for a few minutes. Katrina knows this is a lie. She's looking at the phone records right now. 71 minutes. Not a few minutes. She tells Jason this. He doesn't correct himself, doesn't seem concerned that he's been caught in a lie. And here's what really sends chills down Katrina's spine. Jason shows absolutely no concern that Jasmine is missing. No panic. No urgency. No, oh my God, what can I do to help? Just flat, detached responses. Katrina pleads with the police officers present to investigate further. They do very little. Jasmine is an adult. There's still no concrete evidence of foul play. Another report is filed, and the officers leave. So Katrina and Travis take matters into their own hands. They go to Signal View condominiums and start knocking on every single door. No one has seen Jasmine, but a security guard agrees to share camera footage. Using the timestamps from the My Chevy app, they narrow in on footage from November 23rd. the day after Jasmine disappeared. Just past 8:30 p.m., the white Chevy Equinox drives into the parking lot. The driver can't be identified from the footage, but the vehicle is unmistakable. Then Katrina notices something she'd missed before. On her phone, buried in the messages from Jasmine, is one final text she hadn't registered when it arrived, sent in the early morning hours of November 23rd at 2:18 a.m. No words. Just a dropped pin, a location. Jasmine had never sent a message like this before. Certainly not in the middle of the night. The location is 110 Tremont Street, an apartment building. November 25th, the day after Thanksgiving. Katrina and Travis drive to 110 Tremont Street and begin knocking on every door. All but one apartment answers or is accounted for. Apartment 210. No one responds. Neighbors tell them they heard a loud disturbance coming from that direction in the early hours of November 23rd, around 2:15 a.m., right around the time Jasmine sent that dropped pin location. Somehow, accounts vary on exactly how this happened. Katrina and Travis make their way inside apartment 210. A notebook by the door reveals the occupant's name, Jason Chen. The apartment is small, open concept, kitchen just feet from the couch, a hallway leading to a single bedroom, one bathroom, a laundry closet. Most of the space is visible immediately upon entering. On the kitchen counter sits a small travel bag. It belongs to Jasmine. Cleaning supplies are spread out everywhere. In the desk drawer, Travis finds his daughter's driver's license and credit cards. He pulls them out and leaves them sitting in plain view. This is Jason Chen's apartment, the same Jason Chen who lied about how long he spoke to Jasmine, the same Jason Chen who showed no concern when told she was missing. Chattanooga police are called again. Officers arrive, speak with Katrina, speak with the neighbors, and then they leave. Again. Katrina can't believe what's happening. She's found her daughter's belongings in the apartment of a man who lied to her face, and police are treating this like a routine missing person case. So Katrina does what any mother would do. She goes back inside apartment 210. Multiple times over the next several hours, she enters and searches. She takes notebooks, electronics, multiple cell phones, a camera, an iPad, anything that might give an indication of where Jasmine is. She and Travis also search through the dumpsters outside the building. They're looking for clues, for evidence, for anything that might tell them where their daughter is. It's close to midnight when Chattanooga PD finally returns to 110 Tremont Street, this time with a search warrant. Jason Chen lied to a missing woman's mother. He showed no concern when told his girlfriend had vanished. He let that family search desperately while he knew exactly what happened to their daughter. If you're not like Jason Chen, if you believe families deserve answers and truth matters more than protecting yourself, hit subscribe right now. Only people who think like manipulators and cowards won't. Show that you stand with Jasmine's family. Subscribe. The initial walkthrough of apartment 210 reveals what investigators feared. Bloody stains on the hardwood floor, in the grout in the bathroom, on the bedroom carpet, spatter on the bathroom door and wall. The abundance of cleaning supplies is alarming. Trash bags have been emptied. In the dumpsters outside, police find 2 white sneakers and a pair of blue trousers. Inside the apartment, investigators spot fragments of broken glass in the living room. Furniture has been moved around. There are marks on the bedroom carpet, showing where pieces had sat for a long time before being relocated, apparently to cover something. That something is a large stain underneath the bed. On top of the bed sits a kitchen knife. In virtually every room, investigators identify stains that appear to be blood. The crime scene unit is called in. They spray areas of the apartment with Blue Star, a forensic agent that reveals blood that's been cleaned up or is invisible to the naked eye. The hallway lights up like a crime scene from a horror movie. The case of Jasmine Pace's disappearance officially becomes a homicide investigation, but there's still no body, and Jason Chen hasn't been located yet. Detectives obtain security camera footage from Jason's apartment building and the surrounding area. They begin piecing together a timeline, not just of what happened to Jasmine, but of every single move Jason Chen made in the hours and days after her murder. The footage confirms that Jasmine's Chevy Equinox arrived at 110 Tremont before midnight on November 22nd. Cameras capture it, taking a right turn into the building's parking lot. The next day, November 23rd, at approximately 8:30 p.m., the Equinox leaves again. A figure in a light-colored hoodie is driving it towards Signal View condominiums, the location where the family would eventually find the vehicle 4 days later. A dark-colored Prius, likely a rideshare taxi, picks up that same driver from Signal View and drops them back at Jason's building. A ring camera from an apartment door near the parking lot exit captures Jason Chen leaving the building multiple times on November 23rd, including at 8:27 p.m., 3 minutes before the driver in the light hoodie takes Jasmine's SUV and abandons it. But there are other trips that catch investigators' attention, critical trips that show Jason's methodical attempt to cover his tracks. The morning of November 23rd, Jason makes a trip to Walmart, alone. He purchases Band-Aids, peroxide, and cleaning products. Security footage from the self-checkout shows him scanning several expensive items as asparagus to avoid paying full price. The overhead camera offers a clear view of his white sneakers, the same shoes later found discarded in the apartment dumpsters. That evening, Jason stops at a Walgreens and purchases paper towels. Between these trips, he must have removed Jasmine's body from the apartment. Investigators track Jason through various surveillance cameras across Chattanooga. They're aided by his clothing, specifically a bright white hoodie that stands out even in dark, fuzzy footage. Then, at almost 6 p.m. on November 23rd, that white hoodie emerges from the apartment building again. This time, Jason is struggling to pull a large suitcase from the front door toward the parking lot. Moments later, his black Toyota Camry is captured leaving the complex. On November 29th, 1 week after Jasmine was last seen, Jason Chen is located at his parents' home in Nolanville, Texas. When arresting officers approach, they notice lacerations on Jason's right hand and feet. Defensive wounds. Evidence of a violent struggle. A search warrant is obtained for Jason's room at his parents' house. Inside a black backpack, detectives find a collection of handwritten notes. These notes appear to be Jason rehearsing his story, preparing for his inevitable interview with police. One note states that he last saw Jasmine on November 19th. Another says they spoke on the 22nd. He writes that Jasmine had a history of running away, that she had a restraining order against an ex, that she'd been homeless at times. He even writes that he thinks her mother is an alcoholic, all of it designed to paint Jasmine as an unpredictable runaway, someone whose disappearance wouldn't raise suspicions. Inside a glasses case in the backpack, detectives find a SIM card. It's for Jasmine's phone. They also seize Jason's phone and download the data. What they find is chilling. On Jason's phone, there's a picture of Jasmine standing in his bathroom. The photo was taken on the night of November 22nd, the night she disappeared. There are also multiple screenshots of text messages he claims to have received from Jasmine, but the actual texts themselves have been deleted. On the morning of November 23rd, hours after Jasmine was likely already dead, Jason sends her a photo along with a message. Slept like a baby. Later that day, he texts, "Hey, are we still good for dinner tonight?" The photo's metadata reveals it was taken 2 years earlier. Jasmine's phone data shows that her device made the trip to Walmart with Jason that morning, even though security footage shows him driving and shopping completely alone. He had her phone with him. He was using it to maintain the illusion that she was alive. Finally, the phone's GPS movements reveal where Jason traveled after loading that large suitcase into his Camry on the evening of November 23rd. He drove to Suck Creek Road, a road that runs parallel to the Tennessee River. Look at what Jason Chen did. Look at how he texted Jasmine's mother while her daughter's body was in his apartment. How he posted to social media pretending to be her. How he went shopping for cleaning supplies like it was a normal errand. If you believe predators like this, people who can kill and then go about their day, deserve to be exposed and remembered as monsters. Comment, "I stand with Jasmine right now." Let Jason Chen know that his calculated lies didn't work. Only cowards and narcissists will scroll past this. Prove you're better. Comment below. On Thursday, December 1st, 2022, investigators walk along the bank of the Tennessee River near Suck Creek Road. They're searching for what they hope they won't find, but know they will. Then they see it. Jason Chen's large suitcase lying near the water's edge. Inside the suitcase is 98-pound Jasmine Pace. She's wrapped in 3 trash bags, and she's been shackled. 2 handcuffs bind her body. Not law enforcement grade handcuffs, but cheaper, less substantial ones. Her right arm is cuffed to her right ankle. Her left ankle is linked to her right elbow, forcing her into a fetal position. The chain on one of the cuffs is broken. The autopsy determines that Jasmine was stabbed no less than 60 times. 60. The wounds are concentrated on the upper left side of her body. The tip of the kitchen knife, the one found on Jason's bed, is still embedded in her chest. Dr. Stephen Cogwell, the Hamilton County medical examiner, makes a determination that will become critical at trial. Based on the location and pattern of the wounds, Jasmine was in a fetal position while she was being attacked. And based on the positioning of her body and the handcuffs, Dr. Cogwell concludes that the shackles were applied while Jasmine was still alive. She was handcuffed, unable to run, unable to defend herself properly, and then she was stabbed 60 times. Jasmine, the fierce protector of her family and friends. Jasmine, who wanted nothing more than to be a mother. Jasmine, who made it a point to let everyone know she loved them. She spent her final moments chained and helpless, fighting for her life against a man she trusted. In December 2022, Jason Chen is charged with first-degree murder. A judge sets his bond at $5 million. Many people express outrage that he's offered bond at all, given the gruesome nature of the crime. By this point, investigators have compiled a complete timeline. Evidence shows Jason used Jasmine's phone and SIM card to access her banking information and social media accounts. He posted fake updates after the murder. To a woman he'd connected with on Tinder, he messaged, "I guess we're dating now." Apparently, while Jasmine's body was still in his bedroom. To friends that same night, he arranged to play Call of Duty online. He just needed to finish cleaning his apartment first. The trial begins in January 2025. And on day 1, something shocking happens. Defense attorney Josh Wise stands in front of the jury and says this: Jason Chen killed Jasmine Pace. He's not fighting for his client's innocence. Instead, he's arguing that Jason didn't kill Jasmine with premeditation, that this is a case of voluntary manslaughter, not first-degree murder. Although the state isn't pursuing the death penalty, Jason faces life without parole if convicted of premeditated murder. His only chance is to convince the jury that he killed Jasmine in a fit of passion, that he was somehow provoked into reacting irrationally. The defense's theory goes like this: Jason and Jasmine were drinking wine at his apartment late into the night. When Jasmine went to the kitchen to get another bottle, she heard notifications from the Tinder dating app ringing out repeatedly from Jason's phone. Angered by this, she attacked Jason with a broken wine glass. Jason, they claim, instinctively grabbed the kitchen knife from the bedside table and defended himself. The handcuffs. Jason panicked after the stabbing and applied them to make Jasmine's body fit inside the bags and suitcase. But the prosecution's evidence systematically destroys this narrative. First, there's the neighbor's testimony. Courtney Brewer lived in the apartment next door. She was woken up after 2 a.m. on November 23rd by a loud scream. A female voice, distressed, emphatic. Then she heard footsteps, multiple people, running across the apartment toward the front door. At exactly 2:11 a.m., Courtney heard these sounds. At 2:18 a.m., 7 minutes later, Jasmine's phone sent that dropped pin location to her mother. That means Jasmine knew she was in danger. She had time to grab her phone and send a distress signal before Jason started killing her. 7 minutes. That's not a spontaneous fit of passion. That's time to think, time to stop, time to make a choice. Second, Dr. Cogwell's testimony about the handcuffs is damning. He explains that based on the wound patterns, Jasmine was in a fetal position when stabbed. Her left hand shows defensive wounds. Her right hand, the one cuffed to her leg, shows almost none. She couldn't defend herself. She couldn't run. She was chained and helpless while Jason stabbed her 60 times. Dr. Cogwell is certain those handcuffs were applied while Jasmine was alive. This wasn't panic after the fact. This was deliberate restraint before a prolonged, brutal attack. Third, the Tinder notifications that supposedly provoked Jasmine's anger. When state experts examined the data from the app, they find that Jason didn't receive a single Tinder notification to his phone that entire day. He made it up. The whole story was a lie. Finally, there's the alcohol. Jason claimed they'd been drinking wine for hours. The autopsy finds no alcohol in Jasmine's system at the time of death. Jason Chen chooses not to testify in his own defense. His legal team, realizing their original story has fallen apart, pivots in closing arguments to focus on the lack of ligature marks on Jasmine's wrists, suggesting maybe she wasn't alive when handcuffed after all. But their own crime scene expert admits under cross-examination that he can't be certain of anything. Critical evidence was never tested, and explanations for the rest of the state's evidence, the timeline, the phone data, the 60 stab wounds, the dropped pin location, are not forthcoming. Prosecutor Cody Womp concludes by recounting that 7-minute window. Courtney heard screaming at 2:11 a.m. The phone location was sent to Jasmine's mom at 2:18. 7 minutes. She screamed. Things happened. She was in enough danger that she needed to send her mother her location. It wasn't fast. She knew she was in trouble. She tried to get out of the door. Jasmine knew she was in danger. She had time to use her phone before he started killing her. Jurors begin deliberations at 4:15 p.m. They return with a verdict just after 5 p.m. Guilty of first-degree premeditated murder. Even with a conviction, some questions remain unanswered. Why did Jason Chen do this? Was it really about Tinder notifications that never existed? Was there an argument we'll never know about? Or was this something darker, something that had been building in Jason that Jasmine never saw coming? What about Katrina and Travis repeatedly entering the crime scene before police properly secured it? The defense argued this contaminated evidence, but a juror later revealed it had little impact on their decision. Every single person who went into that apartment had a part in contamination, the juror said. But it didn't matter in our deliberations because we already knew what was admitted, that he murdered her. Still, the question lingers. If police had taken the family seriously from the beginning, if they'd obtained a search warrant immediately instead of dismissing Katrina's concerns, would the crime scene have been better preserved? Would the trial have been easier? And what about Jason's parents? Jasmine's family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against them, accusing the pair of harboring Jason and providing him with money and information in the days after the murder when he was the prime suspect. Were they complicit in helping their son evade justice, even temporarily? We may never know the full truth of what happened in apartment 210 during those 7 minutes between Courtney hearing screams and Jasmine sending that location pin. We only know how it ended. Jason Chen wanted Jasmine Pace to disappear. He wanted her to become just another missing person, another cold case, another family left without answers. If you believe Jasmine mattered, if you believe families like hers deserve justice and monsters like Jason deserve to be remembered for their crimes, smash that like button and subscribe. People like Jason depend on our silence and our short attention spans. Prove him wrong. Like if you believe no victim should ever be forgotten, only those who side with predators will refuse. During the sentencing phase of the trial, jurors were asked to decide whether Jason Chen should ever have the possibility of parole. Through a translator, Jason's mother made an emotional plea. "He is a very good child," she said. "He is not a bad person. I pray that the judge and jury will give him a chance so that he can go home and restart his life. Defense attorney Josh Wise asked the jury to offer Jason hope for redemption. The justice system is not only a measure of how we treat the most virtuous among us, he said, but also a reflection of how we treat the condemned. The jury deliberated for less than an hour. Their decision: life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. They found that the murder was especially heinous, atrocious, and cruel, and involved torture and serious physical abuse beyond that necessary to produce death. Jason Chen will die in prison. For Jasmine's family, the trial brought some measure of justice, but no real closure. The loss of Jasmine and the legal proceedings took an immense toll. Travis Pace testified during the trial, called as a witness by the defense, and many family members walked out of the courtroom, unable to watch. The relationship between Katrina and Travis, already strained, became more difficult. But through it all, they never stopped fighting for Jasmine. Jasmine's older sister Gabby said the trial helped spread awareness of her sister's story. Knowing how many lives she touched and spreading the word about my sister, I think it touched other people's hearts who have probably gone through a situation like this. Bailey Putman, Jasmine's childhood friend, said, "I've known her my entire life, and I've never seen her burn a bridge or end things with someone badly. She always made it a point for you to know that she was thinking of you and that she loves you." Jasmine was fierce over her family and fierce over her friends. She was a devoted aunt, a godmother, an animal lover, someone who wanted nothing more than to have children of her own, and always talked about what kind of mother she would be. She was 22 years old. She had her whole life ahead of her, and in 7 minutes, Jason Chen took it all away. But here's what Jason Chen couldn't take: Jasmine's impact, the love she showed her family and friends, the memory of her laugh, her loyalty, her fierceness, the way she made everyone around her feel seen and valued. Jasmine Pace will not be forgotten, not by her family, not by her friends, and not by anyone who hears her story and realizes how quickly evil can hide behind a dating app profile and a college